Lossy audio encoding is really sad. A lot of people listen to music on these streaming services and all these things like YouTube and Spotify and whatever. And it's all lossy encoded. The audio is all encoded in lossy formats, and that's really unfortunate because, obviously, it's worse audio quality. So many people out there in the world listening to so much music, and it's all in such bad quality. That is really unfortunate. It would be way better to listen to lossless audio, and the streaming services in general are just really unfortunate, and especially in the case of music that I'm going to talk about here. Let's say, what's the argument then for using lossy encoding? Well, it saves on bandwidth because you don't have to download so much data. Well, okay, but that's nonsense if you think about it really, because, well, if that's really the case, if the only reason that the audio is lossy in these streaming services, let's say Spotify for example, if that's the only reason, well, why shouldn't there be an option in some settings in case you have a better internet connection, so that you could use lossless audio in case you have a good internet connection? And even if there's some other reason, maybe it's on the server side, it's somehow heavier to send the data and that's bad or whatever. It's all nonsense because, well, even if all that was the case, even if it was really difficult to transmit the data, streaming services as a concept itself is stupid, because what's the point of re-downloading the same music over and over again every time you listen to it? That, if anything, is wasteful and uses a lot of bandwidth. So, actually, if you really think about it, if the whole point in transcoding the audio into these lossy audio formats is to save bandwidth, but then you re-download the same music over and over again because every time you want to listen to it, you have to download it again. That defeats the purpose. That defeats the whole purpose of saving on bandwidth. So, yeah, what a joke. The real proper way to do things would be to download the music and keep it on the hard drive or whatever. Now, in some cases there are no hard drives to store on, or it would just waste disk space if the person listening to them doesn't want to waste disk space on them. But in cases of music where they actually want to keep listening to the same music, well, then they should just download that music. And now, of course, if you're just going through music that you have never listened to before, that you don't necessarily want to download, that you're just listening to them for the first time, then yeah, whatever. But if you're listening to the same music, just download the music. But it's wrong to download music because the copyright and all that stuff. Well, that's all, of course, nonsense. That's all bullcrap. That's nonsense. Copyright and all that stupid nonsense. That's all wrong. The laws, the copyright laws, that's all wrong. People should have the right to download the music and listen to music. What's wrong is the copyright laws and all that stuff. The streaming services, they hold these, they want to have this control over the people. They get to be the ones who decide what people are allowed to listen to and when and all that stuff. They want to be in control. They don't want people to download the music for themselves and use it for whatever they want and share it with their friends and all that stuff, because the streaming service, they want to be in control. They want to have as much control as they can. They want to maximize the control over other people, because that's how evil people work. For them to do their evil stuff, they want to have as much control. And just wanting that control itself, it's just evil people wanting to control other people. Anyway, but back to the audio quality. It is really unfortunate to listen to lossy encodings, because it's just lossy. I've listened to some lossless audio, listening to music. I've listened to lossless music, audio encoding, FLAC, and the quality really is better, and it can be heard. Like, you can actually hear the difference. Well, I don't know who you are, maybe you don't have such a good hearing, but anyway, one can tell that the FLAC audio, the lossless audio, is actually superior quality. Like, the actual quality can be heard. Like, it's not just some minuscule, insignificant difference that cannot even be perceived. No, it actually can be heard. It is better quality. Lossless audio is better quality. And yeah, that's really unfortunate. There's basically never really been a time when like really high quality music was like very popular. Some of the better quality music that I'm aware of, I've never listened to these things, but as far as I'm aware, vinyl records might have been sometimes really high quality. If it was like digitally recorded and edited and whatever people do with the music people, if it was all done digitally, and then that digital data finally was put into a vinyl record, that sort of thing could be really high quality, and like that might be like some of the better high quality music. Then came CDs, but my understanding from what I see, from what I can tell, is that many CDs were actually really, really badly encoded. There was a lot of clipping. Some also say that it's peaking. The audio peaks, it hits the limits, the integer limits. Some say it's peaking, but I like to say it's clipping when it goes out of bounds. Anyway, regardless of what it's called, the audio was clipping, so it's hitting the bounds, the integer limits. Let's say 16-bit audio for CDs, so the 16-bit integer limit, it's trying to go past that, but it can't. So then it just flattens at the tops. So that's of course really bad. So even if it's lossless encoding, that's still bad quality audio, because that's just bad quality audio. Now you're introducing this distortion to the audio, and that's just bad. It ruins the audio entirely. So, but that's not the fault of the CDs or the audio format itself. That's just that's just those mastering people, or whatever they are called, who do that stuff. The ones who put that audio to the discs. That's just them making mistakes. So a lot of CDs would have been really bad quality, but not all of them were. Some of them would have been really high quality. So that's another good format that sometimes could have been really high quality, but sometimes wasn't because it was improperly done. So some CDs could have been really high quality, but then it kind of ends there. After that, it has always been lossy encoding since. Streaming services became popular, and streaming services, they always use these lossy encoding formats. I mean, there have been other formats of audio, like some cassettes or whatever. Now, while those don't use any lossy encoding formats, they are very bad quality analog audio. So they are just bad because there's a lot of noise. So basically, they are not lossless either. Kind of, they are just lossy in a different way. They don't do data encoding, data compression. They do just bad whatever. The media itself is bad quality. There's noise. So yeah, cassettes and whatever, they are just nonsense. Those are just bad audio formats. But yeah, some of the better audio quality formats, there were a couple, those two, some of the vinyl records that were digitally done and then put to those records, and then some higher quality CDs. Those would have been some of the only high quality formats of audio, and after that everything has been lossy encoding, data compression, whatever, who cares what it's called. Codecs, yeah. Anyway, it is really unfortunate. There has never really been this really high quality audio format that's really popular. That's even better than those two. Even CDs are not the best audio quality. It's just 44.1 kilohertz. But you could just as well have some format made that has 96 kilohertz and 24 bits. That's really high quality. there's not much need to go any much beyond that. So that's like really high quality audio. There hasn't really been a popular media format like that. Now, of course, there are like people who do go and listen to these music, but like I'm talking about like these sort of mainstream, big popular things specifically. That's what I'm talking about specifically. I'm not talking about the existence of those at all. There are, of course, audiophile people who like their high audio quality, so they go out there and find their niche formats. But I'm talking about mainstream audio encoding and distribution of music and whatever. It doesn't even have to be music either. It can be like movies or whatever too. Anyway, it's unfortunate, really unfortunate, because with modern technology, you know, people have enough bandwidth and enough processing power and enough of all of this stuff on their computer to do all these things. And if anything, like it really, it's not even that like decoding these sorts of lossy encoding files, you know, it's not like much different from just decoding a FLAC file. So it's not even a question of having the power or the capabilities, more just the bandwidth. But people have these massive, many gigabits internet connections. You know, that's well enough to download some lossless audio. So it's really unfortunate. Like, it's just so unfortunate that it could be easily done. It could easily be done that music is higher quality and all that stuff. So it just isn't done. Yeah, and also, it's not even just music. All kinds of other things like movies and such things too. And really, there are other problems too with movies. So let's see. So some streaming services where movies are shown, well, they also use some useless lossy encoding. Oh, that's just so stupid. Like, what's the point? You could just as well use lossless audio with movies also. Now, Louis Rossmann made a video where he talks about how some Netflix subscription or something like that, where he pays for 4K some high quality content, but then when he watches the content, it's only like 720p with a bad bitrate. So he says that like he was ripped off, and downloading the movies illegally or whatever, I guess it depends on the law wherever you are, but it would have been illegal where he lives. Anyway, downloading the movies through not so legal means, that actually gave him better quality. And this works as an interesting segue to talking about how to actually acquire high quality music. Well, I'm going to make a clarification. Some people call it piracy, but I do not call it piracy because it is not piracy. Illegally downloading music and sharing files, that is not the equivalent of boarding ships on the oceans and then stealing all the stuff. That's not the same. So it is not appropriate to call it piracy. Anyway, getting files, getting the movies and the music and all that with lossless audio quality, which is better than any of these sorts of official channels even distribute. You don't get lossless audio from these streaming services, whether it's for movies or music or anything like that. You don't get it. You just don't have it. It's not available. You just don't get it. No matter how much you pay them, you don't get it. So it's not even available. So how do you get it? Well, there are means of getting them. You know, illegally distributing the files and then getting the files that way. You know, some people, they distribute those files. I actually don't really know where those files even come from. How do these people even get their hands on these sorts of original copies of these files in such high quality? I don't actually know where that comes from. I'm not really in that scene myself, other than as just a receiver of all kinds of files. Yeah, I don't really know where those things come from, but yeah, seemingly they just come from somewhere. Anyway, wherever they come from, so people do distribute copies of movies and music and such in like very original high quality copies, like FLAC encoding and such. I've watched some random anime series. What a stupid word. Anyway, some random anime shows they had randomly. I was just watching like them, and I just noticed that like this FLAC encoding, like it was some 48 kilohertz. I think like maybe 16 bits, like FLAC, like it was just lossless audio. Like that's pretty cool. Yeah, like you just get high quality audio and video like that. Like that's better than any sort of streaming service or anything could even give. So that's interesting. I didn't even specifically seek that out because of the audio, but I just noticed that it had that sort of audio quality, and that's interesting. But it really just goes to show that like how the Louis Rossmann talked about, you get higher quality by not doing the official legal way of acquiring the files, the media. You get a better experience, you get a superior quality in both visual and audio form. Louis Rossmann was mainly talking about the visual, because some 4K and 720 resolution, 720 vertically. Anyway, but it's really true. The mainstream official ways of getting like media, it's just bad. Why is it this way? It's really weird. Why? Well, is it because, I don't know, I can only come up with theories. Maybe some people at the top don't want people to have high quality copies, because then they could just share those copies. But that doesn't really make any difference. Those sorts of high quality copies, they will be circulated anyway. And regardless, people could still take those lesser quality copies and distribute those. So not making the originals available doesn't really do anything. People will still share those musics, whether it's higher or lesser quality. Be it better or worse, the quality, people will still share those files. Illegal distribution will still take place, but the only thing you're doing is just making the quality worse for everyone. But I don't know, that's just a theory. That might not be it. Who knows why? Maybe those people are just incompetent. And that's not unreasonable to say, because, well, I already mentioned how those CDs back in the day were encoded in such a way where the audio clips. And that's of course very stupid. That's just incompetence. So I don't actually doubt it at all that it could just be stupidity. The people are just stupid. Or maybe there are some stupid arguments about the bandwidth and whatever. But that's of course all nonsense, because you just... music that you listen to over and over again, you could just as well download it. You would save bandwidth that way. So yeah, it's all nonsense. Anyway. Oh yeah, and also one thing I would like to mention on the movies. Surround sound. That's a topic for another speech, but I would just like to mention that that's also a thing. On the... when I'm talking about now audio quality in movies. Yeah, you get surround sound when you get movies illegally, or depending on the law. Laws are different. In some places in the world, it's only illegal to distribute files, but receiving them isn't illegal. So technically, you can download all the movies in the world without breaking any laws. That's possible in many places in the world. It depends on where you are. In some places it is illegal to even receive copies that have been distributed illegally. Yeah. It depends where you live. But anyway, you can get even surround sound audio for movies if you get them through unofficial means. So that's pretty cool. I recommend you actually do use unofficial, unauthorized means of getting the media you watch / listen to, whether it's music or movies, because that gives you actually a superior experience. It's better quality in every way. Movies are in surround sound and lossless and all that, depending on the movies and such. It's all better. Yeah. Streaming services really are bad. They are bad in every way, though. You know, actually, it used to be that on DVDs, people would get surround sound. So that's actually a good thing. And Blu-rays too. But then, streaming services came and everything is stereo only. I don't know, what is it with people being fans of stereo anyway? Too many people use too much stereo. Like, even getting movies through unauthorized means, even there stereo is very prevalent. And I don't understand this. But this is also another different topic. Yeah. People are just weird.